Since World War II, Canadian life at every level has been enriched by new forces from without. New hands are at work beside the old, learning, laboring, contributing, creating. They are the hands of immigrants, whose activities reach into every corner of the country. Already the new arrivals have expanded the home market for Canadian business, leaving the country less dependent on foreign trade. Taken together, recent immigrants form a new market for goods and services larger than the city of Toronto. Canada's development has always been linked with immigration. Of the fathers of Confederation themselves, 9 came to Canada as immigrants, including even Canada's first Prime Minister, Sir John A. Macdonald. Throughout Canada's history, immigrants have helped to push back her frontiers. Great eras of Canadian expansion, past and present, have been spurred by successive waves of immigrants. The opening of the West and the opening of the North. Yesterday building a transcontinental railway, today an ore line through Angaba. But newcomers are contributing more than muscle. Some immigrants are adapting old world practices to a wider use of Canada's natural resources. In Edmonton, where there is no native stone, Peter Drummond makes artificial building stone from sand by a method he brought from Britain. From France, Roger Noirot brought a special knowledge of furniture making, which he is teaching to craftsmen of Quebec City. Bringing his craft from Czechoslovakia, John Furch developed and built his own glassworks in Medicine Hat, where natural gas can supply his furnaces inexpensively. At Portage-la-Prairie, Baron Willem Rengers and Mr. Leon de Haan have set up machines they brought from Holland to make building panels from marsh reeds. Their process, a modern application of the old world practice of thatching, provides new low-cost material for Canadian home builders. In the Portage area, marsh reeds, which previously had no commercial value, are available in unlimited supply. In Prince Edward Island, the provincial government is encouraging a farm practice introduced by Dutch immigrants that lowers the farmer's overhead. The idea is to store winter forage in pit silos instead of the costly old type, harvesting the hay while it is still green and packing it down in a pit or trench by means of a tractor. At Grand Bend, Ontario, a 1,000-acre marsh, which nobody had thought worth clearing, is being reclaimed. Gerard Vandenbush from Belgium bought the land and brought in men and machines to clear it. It was a gamble, but he realized that if the peat-like earth could be drained and worked, it would make some of the richest, blackest market garden soil in Canada. Several immigrant families moved in to help with the experiment. Vandenbush believes the land can eventually support some 30 families. The new homes already appearing on the development promise a thriving community in the near future. Among the families already working the land, there are about 80 children. Most of them are of school age. The children are quickly learning Canadian ways at the 2 schools on the development. It is in hope of a better future for their children that many immigrants have come to Canada. Gradually, the newcomers have transformed the land. Now they are envied for the once worthless marshland, which they have named Klondike Gardens. Most of those connected with the project are from Belgium and Holland. Whole families turn out to help on the land. Most have about 25 acres, which they have bought from Mr. Van den Busch at cost on a long-term basis. Gerard Van den Busch and the people of Klondike Gardens have won their gamble. Today, they are able to provide large supplies of fine vegetables for the markets of Western Ontario. New industries established by immigrants are bringing thousands of new jobs to Canadians. Newfoundland, for example, owes several new industries to technicians from Germany. There is the tannery at Carbonear, which tans seal and other leathers, even fish skins. And at a machine tools plant, sons of Newfoundland fishermen are learning new trades and skills, thus helping our newest province toward a broader economy. At Granby, Quebec, a French firm has begun to manufacture precision instruments and lighting equipment. This company alone has brought scores of new jobs to the Granby area. In Halifax, British scientists head a firm producing vital defense equipment, which employs over 150 Canadians. Dynamax Limited, a firm from France now in Montreal, is making bicycles and motorcycles. Their pride and joy is a geared bike with 8 speeds. There's a new firm in Quebec City that is giving work to between 200 and 300 Canadians. It is St. Lawrence Ceramics, a rapidly expanding company that makes a wide range of ceramic products. Its modern installations for mass-producing dishes and other chinaware have been under the supervision of technicians from the SAR. Ewald Torokve, an Estonian, had some new ideas for plastic toys. He tried them out on his children, then on the buyers. He was successful with both. Now he employs 30, doing a nationwide business. At Intercontinental Packers in Saskatoon, 400 new jobs were created. Fred Mendel, the founder, fled from the Nazis and chose to bring his secret family process to Canada. Now, in their pear-shaped cans, his hams take the name of Canada all over the world. On the West Coast, Alaska pine industries developed by the Corner brothers from Czechoslovakia today require over 4,000 forest and mill workers. This busy New Westminster plant was idle when the Corners bought it in 1939. Here they began turning huge hemlock logs into high-grade lumber. Special techniques of manufacturing and drying brought from Europe were applied to western hemlock, which timbermen used to call junk. Now its value is equal to that of other West Coast woods like fir or Sitka spruce. The Corners' new planer mill at their Vancouver plant is typical of the technical advances they have applied in the industry, thanks to their long years of experience on 2 continents. Corners have also set a high standard in services for their employees. They have built modern new washrooms and pleasant, well-equipped lunchrooms. Every week in the lunchrooms, there is a film show, usually dealing with safety, a field in which corner employees have established an enviable record. Accident rates at their mills are among the lowest ever recorded in Canada. At a lumber mill, fire insurance comes high. The company encourages its workers to participate actively in special safety courses, like fire prevention. Trained employees help reduce the company's insurance rates, and regular cleanup crews cut down accident and fire hazards. Paving replaces the old-time plank and dirt surfacing in the corner lumber yards, resulting in easier work for the carrier drivers, faster traffic, and cleaner lumber. There have been changes at the mills since Corners took over, and West Coast lumbermen seem to approve, if the number of long-term employees is any indication. Many immigrants, like Victoria's Island weavers from Scotland, are helping to develop Canadian arts and crafts. In New Brunswick, weaving classes are conducted by several Estonians, like Leda Rava, whose weaving has won her prizes at national exhibitions. They are organizing handicraft courses throughout New Brunswick for the provincial government. Jacobine Jones is a Toronto sculptor who came originally from Britain. Her work appears in many Canadian buildings, including the new British-American Oil Building of Toronto, whose decor was designed by Thor Hansen, a Danish immigrant. Mr. Hansen's decoration scheme is based entirely on Canadian themes. Frans Kuppens, a stained glass artist from Holland, spent a year as a farm laborer before establishing himself in his age-old profession in New Brunswick. Another venerable art, to the delight of gourmets, is to be found in Le Bastogne, a Quebec restaurant operated by two Belgians, Louis Delocht and Fernand Henderson. One of the most significant stories comes from historic Halifax, a city which bears the marks of the struggle for the New World and has set its port at Canada's service in war and peace. Now, beside the storied monuments beloved by tourists, there are evidences of an important new trend. Recently, there has been a renaissance of the arts in Halifax. Much of the credit for this goes to a little group of Latvian immigrants who have spurred local talent to new heights in music and the dance. Singers with a bent for grand opera are getting a chance to perform under Maris Vetra. Vetra has worked for years with opera groups all over Europe and is one of the best qualified producers of opera on the continent. Maestro Alfred Strombergs works closely with the opera group, for he conducts its orchestra. Mr. Strombergs has also organized the Halifax Symphonette, and with it is winning acclaim throughout Nova Scotia. The Halifax Conservatory School of Ballet rose to prominence under the direction of the Gottschalks, Irene Appin and her husband Yuri Gottschalks of the Latvian National Ballet. Florida ballet, made up entirely of girls from the Halifax area, has been praised for its precision and discipline at Canadian ballet festivals. Those who taught them, too, are praised by many critics who consider them among the best dancers on the continent. Young hopefuls of the Halifax Ballet know they're fortunate. They've not only trained under skilled artists like the Gottschalks, they've also become seasoned troopers with them in public presentations. Many new Canadians, like the Honorable N.V. Baczynski, Speaker of the Manitoba Legislature, have won distinction in intellectual and scientific pursuits. At St. Michael's College, Toronto, Professor Etienne Gilson conducts graduate work in the Institute of Medieval Studies, of which he was a founder. This celebrated scholar came from France. The University of Montreal has on its faculty Vienna-born Hans Selye, famous for his research in the field of stress and its various effects on health. His work is studied by scientists all over the world. At the same university, Dr. Henri Prat from France has introduced the microcalorimeter, which can measure the heat generated by a growing plant. Willem Schmidt, a German at the Alberta Research Council, has found the secret of using waste gases to make carbon black, a product valuable to the rubber industry. Chief of the federal government's Science Service Laboratory in London, Ontario, is Dr. Hubert Martin, a Britisher. Dr. Martin is perhaps the world's leading authority on chemical control of agricultural pests. In Alberta's Peace River country, 600 miles north of Edmonton by road, is the community of Fort Vermilion. Among its most respected and loved residents are two doctors, Dr. Hannah and Dr. Julius Kratz, German refugees who came to Fort Vermilion with their family in 1949. Some previous doctors had refused to stay because of its isolation and lack of comforts. But the Kratzes were used to hardship and, like others in the community, took pleasure in fixing up their own home as time permitted. But a doctor's time is seldom his own. The only doctors in 40,000 square miles, the Kratzes' biggest problem is reaching their patients. Wherever possible, the two doctors make their calls together. Sometimes their duties take them to one of the Mennonite settlements, 50 miles away over the difficult roads. Sometimes it's an emergency at one of the Indian encampments. The Kratz's large and varied practice includes 1,200 Indians scattered over 13 different reserves. Their biggest concern is in trying to reduce the incidence of tuberculosis, long the worst ravager of Indian health. And to reach their charges, they have often to make grueling trips on foot and by air, by boat, and in winter, even by dog sled. In the hospital, however, treatment and equipment are available under modern conditions unexpected in such an isolated hospital. And both husband and wife are equally at home, either on case visits or in the operating room. It wasn't long before word of the two doctors' skill and devotion to their patients extended far beyond the little mission hospital. Other communities made offers, quite attractive offers, involving shorter hours, higher pay, and more of the comforts of life. Danger of the doctors leaving stirred the whole community. Some, like Father Serran, feared the mission hospital would close altogether. The Anglican minister, Mr. Pitt, circulated a petition in the hope that the Kratzes would remain at the community hospital. As they worked, the doctors considered their problem. 3 times before, they had lost everything but their medical skill. Certainly there was a need here, the very kind of need for which they were best fitted by aim and training and experience. Yes, there was a big need here, and the Kratzes would stay to meet it. The work was hard, exhausting sometimes, but the doctors are grateful for the inner peace they have found in Fort Vermilion. They're happy that they, like many other new Canadians, can offer something in return. As in all other great periods of Canadian expansion, the present flow of immigrants has played an important part in national growth. With every new contingent, Canada is gaining new talents and skills, new capital and strength, new knowledge and experience. Adjustment takes time, but the new relationship has always proved fruitful to the nation. Canada has been called a nation of immigrants, and it's not surprising. For even the oldest communities keep green the memory of their beginnings in the wilderness, and the newer ones are alive with pioneer energy. Meet a Canadian almost anywhere, and when you search deep enough, you will find that he or his forefathers came to Canada from lands across the sea.